What's up, YouTube? You checking out the Frequent Flyer, and this is my quick review of the KingKong Tiny 6. This thing is an awesome little Tiny Whoop clone. It is a Tiny Whoop. I gotta say that these little things are Tiny Whoops because the original Tiny Whoop was made from a Inductrix, a blade Inductrix. Somebody just put the parts together, added a VTX all in one, and upgraded the motors and started calling it a Tiny Whoop. So basically a Tiny Whoop is actually an aircraft with a VTX added on with a ducted fan design, or having prop guards protect the props in some kind of way. And I think it has to be a small size. Well, that's my definition of a Tiny Whoop. But anyhow, this thing, I believe that this is the best option you have out there to get a bind and fly Tiny Whoop without doing any building, because this thing flies awesome. It has all the upgrades you need. It has this little mod here that people came up with later. Blade did get in on it and make a new model of the Tiny Whoop that actually has this type of canopy here. They're calling it the Blade Inductrix FPV, I believe. But this thing is really nice. It flies really nice. It has all the upgrades. These motors are very powerful here. I actually have two of these. I have another one that I bought myself. I bought the advanced version, but just saying that to say that I did upgrade the motors on this one to the insane motors from Micro Motor Warehouse. So 19,000 kV, and I really didn't see a difference in these over the stock motors. So the stock motors are pretty powerful. They must be somewhere close to that. I did see a difference in flight time. When I added the 19,000 kV motors, I was getting less flight time. This thing here, you can get close to 5 minutes of flight. You probably can break the 5-minute mark barrier if you just fly normally. I like to fly doing acro and flips and all of that stuff and punch outs. So I fly pretty aggressive with my Tiny Whoop. So I never get 5 minutes flying that way. I usually get like a little over 4 minutes. But it's completely feasible that you can get 5 minutes out of this thing, just casual slow flying around the house, hitting little threading the needle and hitting little holes and stuff with this thing. You can get 5 minutes out of it. But once I upgraded the motors here to 19,000 kV, no way. I was barely even getting 4. I think I was getting like 3.5 minutes, somewhere close to the 3.5 mark. But that being said, these motors are awesome. You don't need to upgrade the motors or anything. It has plenty of punch and all. Flies for close to 5 minutes if you're flying aggressive. It does come with this 250 milliamp hour battery, and so that could be part of it because the battery is so large in milliamp hours. But this thing is a really nice option. I think it's the best option for bind and fly Tiny Whoop. And it does come with this. This is a little USB charger for it. And it comes with 2 size connectors on it. Let me take it out of the package here to show you guys. I really use a hobby grade charger, but I think this is awesome that they include this here, because of the fact that it has 2 connections there. It actually charges the larger connector. I think that's called the JST PH 2.0, or some people are calling it the Power Whoop adapter or size. And I think that this aircraft benefits, well, I know that it benefits a lot from it because I did it. I did that mod there. I added a larger 2.0 connection to it. As you can see, the one that I modded is a little larger, and so that actually gives it more power and allows you to use the high voltage batteries too that I like to use, and it actually gives it a little more punch and all. So this has plenty of punch with this little connector here, but it's just increased ever so slightly with this larger one here. And so I do recommend that upgrade. That's a nice upgrade for it. But other than that, this thing flies really nice. This is the DSM-2 version, DSM-X. So it has a little satellite receiver in there. So all you have to do is add the receiver if you don't have it, if you get it without the receiver. But this is the DSM-2 2 version, it does come with a receiver. I think you can get it without a receiver. I know the advanced version that I had, it didn't come with a receiver, so I had to add a receiver. But I had no problems with it binding up to the transmitter. The receiver seems to be, I ordered some Redcon satellite receivers for DSM from another place, another source, and these seem to be the same exact satellites that they're using in here, because I removed it from the case and it looks identical. So these might be Redcon satellite receivers in there. At least they're the same exact model. Maybe Redcon is sourcing them from them or whatnot. But this is a very nice flyer. The field of view on the camera is perfect. I think it's 120 degrees on the camera view. And it's quite nice because you can see all around you when you're flying indoors. That's just perfect for this little thing. And it does come with an instructions manual. And it does have instructions for the Tiny 7, so they're using the same instructions manual for both. And I think of the two, I think that the Tiny 6 is my favorite over the Tiny 7, simply because this one is a little lighter, and so it takes to crashes better. I have not did any damage to the frame on this one. It seems to be holding up just as well as the Tiny Whoop that I had, the original Tiny Whoop that I had from the Blade Inductrix. But the Tiny 7 seems to suffer from breaking these little spokes in here in the between the ducts there. They actually broke on me. I think that's because of the weight of it. And other than that, the 7 does fly a little more powerful. The 7 does fly with a little more power, but not too much more. And this thing, it just holds its own. And this one seems like it handles better indoors too. The 7 is more for outdoors. The Tiny 6 flies a little outdoors, but it's mainly for indoors. It flies really nice indoors. That's where it shines. And this thing is just pretty awesome. So that's it. My quick review of the KingKong Tiny 6. They did a really great job on this. Thanks for watching.